What's up, H&M Trucking? How we doing out there? I am your host, Marcus, and this is the H&M Trucking Podcast. So happy to have you here with us this week, because this week we are talking about where the rubber meets the road. That's right, it's pretty simple. We're talking tires. There was nothing behind that little adage there. We're just talking about tires, steer tires to be exact this week. There's so many things that can happen, so many things that can go wrong, and so much to know that we decided we're going to bring you multiple tire episodes every year. But that's off in the future. Let's worry about what we're doing right here, right now, today. So first, right before we hit the music, I got to tell you, on the other side of the music, I'm going to bring you a freight market update. We're going to start doing that every week. We've got Tim from JFL on board, and he's going to help us with these stats. This first one I put together by myself, so give me a little bit of leeway on it. It might be ugly, but I do have a new button, and we're going to press it right after the intro.
From Omaha, Nebraska, to whatever lane you're driving, this is the H&M Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
It makes you feel so official to have your own intro for your podcast, and I'm lucky because I got a whole team of people around me to build such an awesome intro. But this next thing that you're going to hear comes directly from me. I sourced it. I found it. Check out my new button. That sounds kind of like breaking news, right? Or at least something important. Well, it is. We're going to talk about a weekly snapshot by the numbers. This comes from DAT Freight and Analytics. That's where I've sourced this info. We're talking about basically the spot market right now, spot rates. So I'm going to give you a snapshot. This is last week, which is May 15th through the 21st, versus the week before, May 8th through the 14th. So we're looking a little bit back in time, but only about a week here. Spot load posts over that time period are up 38.8%. We're still down month over month by 21%, but looking forward to van spot rates up 4.2%, still down 4.5% month over month. And of course, flatbed spot rates 2.2% up week over week, month over month down 1.6%. So we're creeping back to even there. And finally, our reefer spot rates looking like up 5.2%, still down 3.9% month over month. But if we just look at the weeks prior, we're trending upwards in the spot market, which is always a good thing. Next up, we are going to get to one of my favorite segments that we do every single week. Let's talk to Deanna from Driver Advocacy. You're getting to know her almost as well as I am at this point, because she joins us right here on the H&M Trucking Podcast every single week that we can get some of her time. Deanna from Driver Advocacy, how are you today?
I'm good. Hey, everybody. I'm glad to be back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I mean, it's pretty much half your podcast at this point, because I think you're up like 10 appearances on anybody else. So we really appreciate the time and love to check in with you about driver advocacy and see how everything's going. We'll bring you Deanna's tip of the week here in just a little bit. But first, I wanted to ask, you got some big plans? I mean, we're getting into that time where summer is officially here. You going camping? You doing some grilling? What are you up to?
Goodness, I am such a homebody, and I am such a boring person. I could be like a 90-year-old, I swear. Not many plans. I'm actually house sitting for my mom, and she lives in the mountain area. So she's like in the middle of nowhere, and she has this really big pool. So I think I'm going to have a hot girl summer there. So, wow. Yeah, so I'm going to be house sitting her home, I think, for 2 weeks in July. So that's coming up right around the corner. So I'm getting my swimsuits ready, you know, doing little ab exercises to make sure everything's all, you know, looking nice. But other than that, I mean, I'm just kind of hanging out with my dogs, my husband, you know, doing the thing. How about you?
Nice.
How about you? You're the big traveler.
Well, hey, I do think that we'll probably get some camping in sometime this summer, but You know, for the whole Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend thing, it's always so crowded, and it's such a nightmare to find a good spot out here in the Pacific Northwest that we didn't get on it early enough, so we're not going to worry about that. But you know, this time of year for me, I'm into the grilling. I start to, because for football season, I'm always tailgating, and I'm the grill guy for the tailgate. And so I got to start perfecting my recipes come summer. I've only got 3 months to make sure that I can blow everybody's pants off with my chicken at the tailgate. So I did some smoked chicken thighs with a homemade blueberry barbecue sauce the other night, and wow. I mean, that one hit the menu and will never leave if my wife has anything to do with it.
Oh my gosh, that's so much pressure. I'm not a big fan of cooking for lots of people because I'm like, it's too much pressure, but I get it. It's awesome that you're perfecting your craft.
It was pretty cool. The times I've done the most, I did, I think, 10 pounds of chicken wings at one tailgate. I smoked them all at home, and then we took them to the tailgate, and I flash fried them. And we had like a spicy Thai. We had a sweet maple bacon. I got this. I kind of stole this one from a local wing shop, but it's like this maple sauce, and then they throw bacon bits in there so they like stick to the wings, and it's, oh my God, it's amazing. And then I made chili for 45 people last year, my own recipe, which was pretty cool. It was the most nerve-wracking thing. I stayed up all night to make sure it didn't burn. So I was worthless at the tailgate the next day, but I do enjoy it. You're right. There is some pressure that comes with cooking for a lot of people. But after you've done it, you know, 5 or 6 times, you kind of are just like, hey, first of all, if they don't like it, they're going to tell you that they like it, because what kind of dick just walks up to somebody that just cooked for 50 people and is like, hey, this sucks. And second, as long as they don't get sick, I don't really care if they like it. I know I like it. So it's one of those things where maybe I'm a little bit of an entitled cook, to be honest with you, but it's okay. I enjoy it. So.
Maybe like a Chef Ramsay type, like, oh yeah. Crap. But yeah, you're right. It's like, if I knew someone was cooking for 50 people, I'd be like, thank you. I'm so grateful. Like, it's great, even if it's, you know, subpar. But hey, I'd lie for sure. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing what free food does to people. You know, you just put free food in front of them. It doesn't matter if it's garbage. They'll still eat it. So how's things going in the driver advocacy side? Any interesting conversations? Anything? I guess we might as well just get to your tip of the week right now. And just so you know, and everybody listening knows, we're in the works here. We're starting to come together from the audio side, and we're going to bring you, like, you're going to have your own logo. It's going to be like an audio, a button that I press, and it's going to advertise Deanna's tip of the week. So I promise you that I'm working on dressing this segment up a little bit, but for now, the content of the segment is still the most important thing, and I'm looking forward to this week's tip.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like incredible. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. That's so cool. I've never had a sound before, so super awesome.
I'm going to send it to you. Maybe it can be your ringtone, so you can get really annoyed by it within like a week.
I'll be like, oh God, here we go again. Someone's calling me. Great. Yeah, so my tip of the week, I think ultimately is safety. I've talked to a gentleman that has actually told me a story where he was held at gunpoint. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh, wow. He had been trucking for a long time. This is his 35th year. So he's seen it all. I don't know if he's seen it all, but I'm assuming he's seen a lot in the trucking industry. 35 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And he mentioned the lesson he learned just in that instance, like, you know, how to stress and look for potential safety issues when you're in a truck, because you are, you know, at the mercy of truck stops. You're at the mercy of stopping in places that aren't as safe. So he gave me some tips on things that worked for him after that happened to kind of keep him safe on the road. So he mentioned that he always parks the nose in when he's driving into like truck stops or places he's going to stop for the night, whether it be on the side of the road or like in a secure truck stop area, just so he can see in front of him at all times. And then he also has this wraparound, kind of like those things that keep your heat from getting in your windshield.
Oh yeah, just like a heat
visor.
shield.
Yeah. So he has 2 of those. So they wrap around each window. So he has one that wraps around the front driver's side window and then goes all the way around to the middle of the windshield. And then he has another one that goes all the way around too. So no one can like bypass him and see what cargo's in there, if his phone's in there, or like anything, any of his possessions that are in there.
Okay.
So that was one healthy tip, just to kind of keep, you know, curious. A lot of people, like, they'll break in because they see something shiny, or they, you know, they see something and they're like, ooh, that's a good place to hit or something. So that's always good. And, you know, another thing is just, you know, be aware of your surroundings before you stop for the night. That is always key too. Kind of keeping it fresh in your mind. If you get that gut feeling that something is out there and wrong, don't just keep driving and try to find something that's safe. I know that that's not 100%, but everyone has that gut feeling like, I'm unsafe, like this might not be a good place to stop. Or if you just, you know, feel that feeling, absolutely keep it moving. And those are some tips he gave me. I know a lot of companies don't allow you to carry a weapon, but he actually recommended maybe getting a bat. That's something that you can have, maybe on like a metal bat or like a wooden bat, where you can just kind of have something to help you as far as, you know, a weapon.
Self-defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Something to kind of keep you, you know, defended. Some companies allow you to carry a gun, which I don't know if H&M's one of those. I don't think they are. But just to have something where you feel safe that you can, you know, grab. But most people have dogs, so their dog's going to go off and they're going to...
Yeah, their dog's going to alert.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly. So,
well, I guess the one thing that we should say here is we'll check with H&M and make sure here what their policy is on firearms. I do believe you're correct when you say that they're not allowed by H&M. But this is something that is interesting to talk about for sure, because we talk all the time about get out and look and you know, having plenty of space to stop and making sure that your safety checks and your CSAs are all good and international road checks. And really, when you think about it, none of that stuff talks about your own personal safety when the truck isn't in motion. And so it's a good thing to just think about every now and then. Make sure you are aware of your surroundings. If you're in a bad area, having your windows blocked off like that, being able to stay secure within the truck, I imagine that that's something that sits in the back of all truckers' minds. When you don't know where you're stopped, you're just in a place and you maybe have never been there before. Maybe there's some shady characters milling around the area. Look with your eyes and not your head, and just make sure that you are always aware of what's going on around you. And like Deanna said, there's something to be said for that weird feeling that everybody gets in their gut from time to time. And there's so many stories out there, countless stories where people say, I had a bad feeling and I didn't stick around there, and lo and behold, something terrible happens right after they leave. Or they say, I had a bad feeling about it and I didn't trust my gut and something happened anyway. So heck of a tip of a week, because it's something that we don't ever really talk about. I mean, we're a long ways into this podcast, and I don't know that we've ever brought that specific point up, that, you know, making sure that you're aware of what's going on around you. And listen, I'm no self-defense expert, but a tire thumper is probably a good thing to have, to thump your tires. And in case somebody comes and tries to do harm to your person, I guess you could probably thump them with that as well. So, you know, who knows? I really don't want to get anybody or myself or you in trouble with this because obviously self-defense is a very touchy subject. So make sure that you know the policy, and I will check in, and maybe at the end of this break, once we let you go, I'll check in with H&M and make sure that we can deliver you exactly what the policy is on firearms and protecting yourself, because we want to make sure that everybody out there has that information. So great tip of the week, Deanna. I love it. Like I said, we're dressing up this segment. We're going to get you a sound button. We're going to make it even more punchy. And we always enjoy our time spent with you here on the H&M Trucking Podcast. So thank you kindly, and we'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. Sounds good. I hope it helps as many truckers out there. I mean, every little tip can help. And safety is a big one. I mean,
and don't ever forget when you can call Deanna, and that is
yeah, Monday through Friday Eastern time, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then I do 3 hours on Sunday.
Give her a call.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just wanted to check back in with you now that we've let Deanna go on her way. I did do my due diligence, got a hold of management over at H&M to check on the policy surrounding firearms. There is a policy. It was well dictated in orientation, and what H&M asked is that if you have any questions about that policy, just go ahead and get in touch with HR, because they're going to be able to give you a lot more complete information than what I am. It's important that we protect ourselves. It's important that everybody feels safe out there on the road. So as I said, once again, if you've got any questions about the policy that H&M has on this type of thing, please get in touch with HR. Let's get to the next one. We got a first-timer on the podcast today, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think we were ever going to get this guy on. I don't know what I did right. Don't tell me. I don't want to jinx it. Please say hello to Service and Equipment Manager Jim Musel. Jim, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I can't complain at all, man. Just very happy that you decided to come on with us today and talk a little bit about steer tires. That's the episode topic. And as the Service and Equipment Manager, I want to ask you, what are some of the most important things to remember as an H&M driver when it comes to steer tires from the shop perspective?
That would be to always make sure that every day you go out and look at them, or every time you get out of your truck, just make sure that you don't have low tires, the tread's good on them, and if you got any kind of uneven wear, to at least let the shop know, reach out to them so we can try and get it worked back here to Omaha, or even get it into a shop so they can look at it for balancing issues or just uneven wear.
What are some of the things that would cause that uneven wear? I know that it can kind of happen act of God style, but are there different ways that the drivers might drive that could cause uneven wear?
Sometimes it's like if you hit a lot of potholes, or if you're jumping up on curbs when you're going into like places and you're not going in real soft. It's really hard on them sidewalls when they're improper. Tire inflation is the biggest thing. Just make sure that there's always 110 pounds there in the tires.
And is that pretty standard across the board? It's always 110 pounds. Does it depend on the load or the weight or anything like that?
No, it's usually 110 because like wintertime, you'll lose 5 pounds when it's cold, just because of the aluminum and the tire. And then when the summertime comes around, then you usually gain 5 pounds because of the heat. And that aluminum keeps that heat in on them aluminum tires. So, we always try and say rule of thumb is keep them at 110 because you'll be up to 105, you'll be down to 105 or you'll be up to 115. So,
okay.
Just want to stay in that range of 110.
What kind of cost are we talking about here if we're not making sure that we're at the right air pressure and checking them for uneven wear and things like that? How expensive does a set of steer tires run for one of these trucks?
So just a set of steer tires runs for a set on front of a truck is roughly $1,500 just for the steer tires. And then you still got your mount and balance and the time you're down. So the downtime sitting at a shop for 2 hours is 2 hours that you didn't get down the road. And, that's what we worry about. Really worry about, like, if you're running the tires and you got tread that's not really shown anymore and you're past the DOT regulations, and that's, 430 seconds. And if they're running under that and you get into a scale house and then a scale guy does an inspection and sees it, and now you're shut down, you got red tag, you got a fine, and now you got a tire shop coming out there. Now we just doubled that price.
Right. Yeah, those on the side of the road, whether it's at a weigh station or just parked on the side of the freeway, that's never cheap to have those guys come out and work on it out there. I imagine that something like a worn tires is probably pretty easy for the guys to spot at a weigh station. Is that something that would cue a whole inspection if they look out? They're looking at your tires and they're thinking, man, I don't think we're at 430 seconds. Are they going to just cue a whole inspection based on just that at any time?
No, not usually. But you can see a tire if it's squatting. If the tire is squatting on the sidewall, for, say, lack of air pressure, being at where you need to be, that will get you pulled over to the side so they can do the inspection. It just gives them a probable cause for anything.
For sure. The one thing that I think I'm getting here in talking to everybody about steer tires is that this is a pretty easy thing to maintain and a pretty easy thing to just get out and check. It's not something that you have to have all this overwhelming knowledge about. I mean, it's a tire. It's a pretty basic piece of equipment. So the order of the day is just to pay good attention. Is that correct?
Yeah. When you're doing your pre-trips and then you're doing your post-trips, I mean, that's always been a goal is, get out and look, that's what goal spells, get out and look.
Absolutely. One of my goals was just getting you on the podcast, and I accomplished that. So, was it the hat? Was it the nice custom H&M hat that finally sold you, or was it the beard? Tell me, Jim.
Yeah, honestly, it was the hat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little jealous on that hat. I like that myself. I was thinking about, I need to get one of them too.
Yeah. I apologized to Eve on the podcast last week because I figured, look, you might not hear from people yet, but it's only going to be a few more weeks before you're going to start getting phone calls, and she doesn't have any idea where to get this. So, I guess if somebody really wants one and they want to shell out for it, have them call me. I can definitely, I can put you in touch with the right people, Jim, but, I'll tell you.
Yeah, really. Honestly, you let me know where you got that hat. I'd get one for sure. Okay.
And that means that we'll get a couple more episodes of you on the podcast then, right?
Yeah, you probably get that too. I mean, I've been around this for multiple years and being a driver at one time too. So.
And how long did you drive for, Jim?
I drove for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Prior to going back to turning wrenches on them. So.
Yeah. And what did you like more? Do you like the shop more, or do you like being behind the wheel more?
Honestly, if you want to see the country, that's the most beautiful time to sit behind that wheel and just see the country. I miss that part, but I don't miss doing what I can do here. I understand what it's like for them guys on the road. They found that ground to make that, make it so we can all do this too.
Yeah.
And that's how it always works in a circle. It's just like a wheel. We all work together to make it work.
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, where was your favorite part of the country to drive in when you were behind the wheel?
That was more Utah. I like Provo Canyon. I liked the Arizona area a little bit. It's hard to say California, but I liked it up in Bakersfield area.
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff.
You got to keep your head down if you're going to say California is one of your favorite places to drive in this industry.
I was really not one to say it. But that is some pretty country out there by Bakersfield and stuff. So.
Yeah. I just tell people if they're in California and they're really liking it, just head north a few hundred miles, get up into Oregon. Nobody complains about Oregon like they do California. We're kind of little brother, and we don't necessarily claim them. So,
Right. Yeah, Idaho's nice too.
Yeah,
Utah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, half of Oregon's trying to join Idaho right now, so obviously it can't be that bad, right?
Right.
Well, Jim, I've taken up enough of your time today. I really appreciate you coming on here, chat with me about steer tires. Hope you have a great time. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Take it easy. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Jim Musel, Service and Equipment Manager for H&M Trucking. Right after I just bashed my elbow on my desk, we're going to have the safety manager, Dean Edmunds, here. Dean, I doubt you have any type of advice to give me on how to be less clumsy, but since we're talking about steer tires today, I figured having the safety manager on was probably a good idea. First of all, thanks for being here. How's everything going out in Omaha today?
Everything's going very well. We just got done with the annual Blitz, which came out very successful, so I'm very happy.
That's good. So did you have a lot of drivers that got randomly stopped on that safety blitz? This is obviously the CVSA's safety check or international road check that you're referencing, right?
Yep. Looks like we had 6 inspections that week, and all but one was clean, so 100% clean. So that's really real happy.
That's great. Well, congratulations to those drivers out there that had the clean inspections. I know that just based on my reading through forums and talking to all of you guys out there in Omaha, it seems like that's one of those things that's it kind of looms over their head for that week when it's going on. They're always kind of looking over their shoulder, wondering if they're next.
Exactly.
So it's always good to be prepared. From a safety perspective, let's talk about steer tires. Now,
okay.
First of all, how do the tires and the health of the tires essentially factor into your CSA scores, if they do at all? Talk me through that a little bit.
Well, I mean, obviously, if we have a tire that has irregular wear on it, or in bad shape, that attracts the attention of the inspector. And potentially you can get violations for having steer tires that are beyond specs as far as tread depth. Also, you can have issues when maybe a tire is worn incorrectly and the outside edges are smooth. So, all of those things are targets, and a simple thing for a DOT officer to find when they're looking at a truck.
Now, I would ask the question, but I kind of already got an answer to it. So when somebody that is doing an inspection is looking at a tire, if they see a tire that's clearly out of whack, Jim told me on my last interview that it's not necessarily the case that they'll see that tire and kind of spur a whole inspection off of that, but it seems like that might be something that's very easy for them to spot and something that's pretty easy to write up as well. Is that the case?
I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, it's right there on the front of the truck. If they happen to open the hood, it's right there in the open. There's nothing hiding it. Very easy to see. And there's not a lot of discussion about it. If it's bad, it's bad.
Right. It either is or it isn't, and you can't lie it off. You can't lie when they're sitting there looking at it, right?
No, you can't say, well, it was fine when I left, when I did my pre-trip, because unfortunately it takes a long time for a tire to wear like that. So right. not just one trip.
Dean, talk to me a little bit. Obviously, we talk all the time on this podcast about goal, right? Get out and look. It seems pretty simple to keep your eye on the tire to make sure that it looks okay. But as far as feel is concerned, if you were to actually put your hand right on the rubber, talk to me about uneven wear patterns. How's that going to feel when I'm feeling it on my hand? Is it just going to feel kind of lumpy? Is there going to be like a rib in the tire, or am I going to feel cordage? Like, what type of stuff am I looking for?
Well, I hope to God you never see or feel cords when you're filling the steer tire, because that means it's been too long. But, you should feel a couple of different things. I mean, obviously, if you feel it real smooth on the corner edges or the outside edges, kind of rounded off, that's not a good thing. Or if you run your hand across it and it's lumpy or wavy, to choose a different word, those are also things that you're going to have to be concerned about.
Copy that. What else? What type of advice would you give your drivers when it comes to their tires? I mean, I feel like this is probably something that sits pretty high up on their priority list. How would you prioritize it? I mean, is it a number one, or is there a few things that come before that on the safety priority checklist?
If it's not at the top of the list, it should be a close second or third, possibly. I mean, obviously, things like, you want to make sure you got oil in the engine. You want to make sure that the truck's building and holding air. But going down the road, the steer tires are probably one of the number one things that's going to make or break a good day for you. Yeah,
absolutely. So with respect to safety, is there anything else that is on your mind that you'd like to talk to drivers about? I mean, look, steer tires, it's pretty cut and dry. We've talked about it ad nauseum already on this episode. We know that it's very important. It's a priority. It's pretty easy to check. The guys that are responsible for checking you out aren't going to miss it, so it stands to reason that you don't want to miss it as well. But moving beyond the steer tires, what other kind of safety topics are we sitting on right now? What's H&M either worried about or trying to make better, trying to fix? Anything like that in your world right now?
Well, I think probably one of the biggest things that I'm seeing a little more of, I'm, watching videos when they pop up of, what's going on the road with our drivers and our trucks. I see a lot more cars with luggage racks, meaning that there's families on vacation. We're coming up on Memorial Day right now, so we're going to see an increased amount of families taking that summer vacation with the kids and getting together. So that means they're going to be out on the road. More cars just means more possibilities for something else to happen. So I think it's important that, our drivers kind of increase their following distance. That way they have more time to react if something takes place or goes wrong. Also just kind of pay attention to those around you. Make sure that they're doing their job. They're paying attention. They're not on the phone. They're not, fighting with the kids in the back seat. Make sure, that you're doing everything you can to stay safe.
Yeah, it's hard, too, because you're sitting there watching that happen from the cab of your truck. You're watching them not pay attention to the road. Maybe they're fighting with the kids, like you said. Maybe their trailer's squirreling all over the place because they didn't weight it or attach it correctly. And there's not a lot that a driver can do aside from maybe try to get somebody's attention and let them know. I mean, you'd like to throw a big gulp out the window, but that's not any safer than what's already going on. Yeah. What type of ways do you think that drivers could maybe alert somebody if something like that is going on and still stay safe within their own occupation and their own lane?
I think probably the best answer or the best solution would be just to put space between them and that other vehicle, whether it's move over an extra lane if that's an option, or just kind of slow down a little bit, let that car get farther ahead of you, and just maintain your own vehicle. Because it's, that person's probably not going to pay attention if they're already in that scenario, and just, get yourself away from that trouble as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think it's great advice. I always, I have this saying when I'm driving in my car and I see somebody being what I would call negligent, and it's just make way for the idiots. Like I will just kind of back off speed, get over a lane and let them get up ahead of me. But sometimes I fight with that internally because I'm thinking, well, now they're ahead of me. Whatever accident they cause, I'm going to drive up on really fast. But you also can't just pin it to the floor and do 120 to get past that person. So definitely good advice coming there from you, Dean. Just let them get by, let them go do their thing. Maybe pull over at a rest area and enjoy the sunshine out there for a second while they creep up the road. I don't know how weather is in Omaha, but out here in the Pacific Northwest, we're pushing like record highs right now. So it's a nice time to just stop and walk around the truck if you have the second.
Sure.
How is the weather out there in Omaha?
Well, right now it's not too bad. Kind of reasonable sunny days, and we've got a lot of cloud cover. We've had some cases of I guess it's a forest fire or fires in Canada blowing smoke this direction, so it kind of puts a haze over everything. But other than that, not too bad.
Well, it's about that time of year. The state of California should catch on fire within the next couple of weeks, and when that happens, we'll be in the same boat, Dean. So appreciate you. Appreciate you coming on, as always. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon. That's Dean Edmunds, your safety manager at H&M Trucking. Thanks for your time, Dean.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
So as the H&M Trucking podcast evolves, we are obviously going to be bringing you new stuff. And when we say new stuff, it's a pretty broad designation. It could be pretty much anything, but we're going to start this thing where we have a recurring segment on the podcast each week, and we'll kind of be seasonal with those recurring segments. So we thought, what better place to start than something that kind of goes unlooked, kind of flies under the radar, but you seem to always see a news story on it. And unfortunately, sometimes those news stories happen after the tragedy rather than before. We hope it's preventable. And that's why we call this next segment
Slow down, Earnhardt. Don't hit the kids edition.
Lots of kids at play. This time of year, You're seeing kids get out of school. You're seeing a bunch of, summer and after school programs moving along. They're all over the place. And as a truck driver, you know about get out and look. Well, let me bring you a stat that might raise the hair on the back of your neck a little bit. The heightened assertiveness that you need to have this time of year definitely extends all the way to your own driveway. According to the organization Kids and Cars, at least 50 children are backed over in the United States every week, and 70% of those incidents involve a family member or a parent. An easy way to prevent this is just to get out and look. Obviously, four-wheelers need to understand get out and look is a very important part of truck driving, and there's a reason for it. It's not just to check to make sure your tires are at 110 or there's no uneven wear. We want to make sure that a child isn't hurt because of negligence. So, not for the truck drivers specifically, but there are instances when you're going to have your truck at home. Maybe not for everybody, but think about it this way. I've seen pictures on social media of an H&M truck parked in somebody's driveway without a trailer on it. That's probably an owner-operator. Maybe that's what you are, and you're listening to this thinking, hey, I've got my truck home all the time. I want you to think about it from this perspective. If there's that many children each year that are run over by a car at home, that means that the kids are not visible behind things like Priuses and Subaru Outbacks if you're from where I'm from, and it's pretty much every car in every driveway over here in the Pacific Northwest, with the exception of like 1 in every 15, there's a pickup truck, and suspiciously everybody in the neighborhood lets their dog poop in that guy's lawn. I know that because that guy is me, but I digress. If you can't see a kid behind a Prius or a Subaru Outback or any other regular four-wheel vehicle, imagine how that kid's going to be visibility-wise behind a bobtail sitting at home, parked in the driveway. It's a really good idea, regardless of what kind of vehicle you drive, to get out and look. Anyone listening to this podcast, it's that time of year. The kids are out of school. They're not always paying attention, so we, as responsible drivers, should be. This is just the first of what will be many of our recurring segments, and we're probably going to beat this one until it's reminiscent of a dead horse. But don't worry, nothing bad comes of that. You're not going to be able to convince me sitting here in my sweet H&M hat that something bad comes out of telling you to look for kids during this time of year, during the summer. So be safe out there. Keep the shiny side up. Get out and look for those little ones.
Slow down, Earnhardt. Don't hit the kids edition.
Our driver profiles are some of my favorite things that we get to do here on the H&M Trucking Podcast. And why am I bringing it up? Well, obviously, because I've got one right in front of your face right now. Please welcome Tony Bertolf, H&M driver, to the show. Tony, thanks so much for joining us. How you doing out there today?
Sure, no problem. I'm doing great.
And where are you joining us from right now?
I'm in Alma, Arkansas.
How much, is there a lot going on out there in Alma, Arkansas? It sounds like kind of a quiet place.
Just a couple of truck stops, and that's about it.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Tony, how long have you been driving for H&M?
This last December was my 10-year anniversary.
Wow, congratulations, man. A decade
Sure.
Anywhere is a long time.
Yes, it is. Especially in the trucking industry.
That's what I hear. It's one of those industries where there's a lot of turnover, and fewer and fewer guys get honored for spending a decade at a company. So I'm sure I speak for H&M when I say happy to have you here, still sticking around.
It's a good place to work. I love it, and the people in the office are great. Ownership's great. All the management people we have, all the dispatchers. I always put my dispatcher up on a pedestal. I always tell her she's doing an excellent job, and I'm not worthy of what she does. So,
is your dispatcher by any chance Brenda Hampton?
Yes, it is.
You know, she was the one that recommended me to you, and I got the privilege of meeting Brenda in person when I was in Omaha here just recently, and what an awesome lady she is, and I can't wait to get her more involved with the podcast because she has this energy that is just palpable, and she came right in. She was my very first interview. You know, she'd spoken to me on the phone, I think, for maybe 10 minutes before I interviewed her face-to-face, and just such a cool person, and I'm happy that you feel the way that you do about her. Can you talk a little bit about how you and Brenda built your relationship between driver and dispatcher?
Actually, everything started out with I'm on a dedicated customer, and the truck I had at the time, I needed to go into the Kenworth shop for warranty maintenance, and so it was going to be down for about a week. And they're like, "Hey, do you want to jump in a spare truck? We've got some trailers that need to be just picked up, loaded, hauled over to a place, unload it, bring it back, and then swap for another loaded trailer. You don't mind running that for this week, do you?" And I was like, "Not a problem." And it turns out it was for Darpro and Brenda and what other entities involved. They got it set up where we have we're dedicated carrier for them. And she asked me, "Hey, do you want to stick on doing this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So it all kind of stemmed from, my truck having to have maintenance done on it. And Brenda and I, we hit it off. And her co-worker at the time, Shelly, she was the one kind of handling me at the time. And then I just kind of floated into Brenda, and just a smooth transition.
Now, was that Shelly Bridger by chance?
No, Shelly Stone.
Oh, okay. Still haven't had Shelly Stone on the podcast. I'm not sure if she's still around, but we did have Shelly Bridger last week. So, she's not still around. Okay, well, I just think it's so cool, the relationship between drivers and dispatchers. And Brenda told me during the interview that was something that she puts up very high on the list of priorities. She said, "I want to have a good relationship with my drivers," and it shows. Sure. It really does.
Yeah, and with me and her, it's just a couple of quick text messages, and if I've got a question, quick text message, she answers back, and I'm on the road. I'm hitting the road.
How important is that to be able to have that level of communication with your dispatcher? I imagine that if your dispatcher is kind of absent at the other end of that phone line, it could just cause chaos in your day.
It sure could. As far as with Brenda, I only do the text messaging, during business hours with her, just because I know she's always busy with doing stuff on the computer, lining up loads for the other drivers and everything. And I don't want to take time off of her having to, stop and pick up the phone and answer. If it's something really important, I need to talk to her. Yeah, I'll give her a phone call. But if it's just a simple question or whatever, quick text message, and I'm off and running. She usually gets back to me within a couple of minutes after she's finishing up what she's in the middle of, and I get my answer, and I'm on about my day. So I'm not for sure. I mean, I've only dealt with Brenda for basically the last 5 years of doing these Darpro loads, so I don't know how all the other dispatchers are, but I'm pretty sure they all follow pretty much the same guidelines of, trying to carry on a good relationship with the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in 5 years, that's long enough to get to know anybody. I mean, just ask my wife. She thinks that she had me figured out after like a year, so 5 years, plenty of time.
Yeah. In fact, it's good enough. Brenda's always telling me I need to give her the keys to my Jeep I just bought. So.
Oh, what kind of Jeep?
It's a pretty expensive one. It's a Jeep Rubicon 392.
Oh, those are so nice.
It's got a stock from factory 6.4 liter V8 in it. So.
Wow. And Brenda told me I think she has a lead foot, so I would not be giving her the keys unless I was getting in there with her.
Exactly.
Tony, tell me a little bit about how you got into the career of being a truck driver.
Oh, goodness. Well, when I was 19 years old, I started working at Pepsi-Cola and needed a CDL. So I've had my CDL since I was 19, so that's 30 years of having a CDL. And just throughout the years, doing my work with Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, I kind of got out of the driving there for a while, being responsible for driving the truck for a few years when I became an account manager at Pepsi and Coke. And then just through some workings of everything, my neighbor, her dad owned a trucking business doing local stuff, and she kept bugging me to go to drive for her dad. So I started doing it, and it all dealt with the agriculture stuff. So when things got a little difficult, slowed down times and everything, I was just kind of like, it's probably getting close to time to maybe try to find something else. Just put my resume out there on the old interwebs, and Mr. Dale Cook gave me a call within 2 days, and here I am at H&M Trucking.
That's awesome. Well, how cool that Dale Cook, executive vice president's the one that gave you a phone call to bring you on, right?
Sure.
That's pretty cool. So I got to know, when you were doing the account management stuff, did you miss driving?
I was able to do a little bit of it here and there. If I needed some extra product delivered or something, I was still able to go grab a big truck and get it hauled to my stores and stuff. But, looking back on it, I'm like, I almost wish I was still, stayed in the driving part. So, because I'm not a type of guy that likes to be stuck inside of a building. I like to be out, outdoors doing something.
I hear you there. And look, I've done the account management job before. You're a little bit of a sales guy. You're a little bit of a customer service rep. And even though the driving from account to account is nice, there's no way that kind of driving scratches the itch that you've definitely got after spending some time as a CDL driver. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Right, you're just grinding your teeth the whole time on the way to the next client, because sometimes they get those account management clients and those account management jobs. They look at you as your best friend until something goes wrong, and then you're everybody's worst enemy, and it seems to kind of peak and valley like that. I don't know, man. I feel like deep down inside, I would work out way better in the cab of a truck than I would at customer service, and maybe that's why I'm sitting here as a podcaster, because customer service scores were never that high for me, Tony. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, and honestly, I think by having so many years of having to deal with so many people doing the account manager work and everything, stocking the shelves at the big stores and all that, and then just dealing with the people in general, it's kind of put me in a spot where, I don't know, you might consider I'm what do they call that now, introvert. I just kind of like to be by myself and I'm just trying to enjoy life, and I'm always happy when I'm out driving a truck, so.
It makes me wonder how many self-identifying introverts are that way because they were at one point in time or another treated like shit in some type of public-facing job or something like that. Because, Tony, I won't lie to you. People look at this, they look at the podcast, they say you like to talk, you're obviously very extroverted. I am, but it's got to be in the right scenario. There's been times before where somebody has come after me for one business relationship or another, and I've just been absolutely over seeing anybody for the rest of that whole week. But that being said, the things that you learned while being an account manager are probably pretty handy, those customer service tips and tricks for when you're dealing with shippers and receivers, I imagine. Yeah.
The largest retail chain in America having to deal with one of their stores.
Yeah, which shall go unnamed, but I think we all know who you're talking about, all right?
Oh, man, I tell you, dealing with them on a daily basis, three times a day, and it's just like, oh, man, I look back on it, I was like, why did I put myself through all that pain and suffering?
Well, yeah, we're gonna not say it, and I might have to bleep this out, but I'm gonna do this anyway. It rhymes with ball fart. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're a great place. We're all still going there. We're all still going to buy our Pepsi and Coke products there. So which is interesting. How did you make the switch from Pepsi to Coke? I mean, that's
I had a time frame in there where I had an opportunity to become self-employed, and I was selling Little Debbie snacks for a while.
Ooh, oatmeal cream pie is one of my favorites.
Yep, nutty bars, all that good stuff.
Oh, you know it.
And Unfortunately, my son, my oldest boy, he came down with a kidney illness where he ended up needing a kidney transplant. And I was needing to, hey, my son's going to have a transplant. My wife at the time, she was the one giving up a kidney, so I was going to have 2 people in my family down.
Wow.
And the regional manager I had, since I was self-employed, I was an independent contractor, and I couldn't get no help from him to be able to be gone for a couple of weeks. And so I was just like, you know what, I'll just venture on, and was seeing that the local Coca-Cola place was needing someone for management, and applied for that, and went there for a couple of years. And then that's when my neighbor, she's like, hey, my dad's really needing a driver. I know you're not happy at Coke. You want to come drive for him? So I was like, okay.
Well, the next obvious question I have, who cares about the jobs? Which one do you like more? Are you a Coke guy or a Pepsi guy?
Technically, it would have to fall into the Pepsi category because of Mountain Dew. Diet Mountain Dew, that's my favorite one, Diet Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew is one of those, I mean, listen, Coke, Pepsi, obviously on the Rushmore of great sodas. Maybe you can argue a Dr. Pepper, but Mountain Dew gets its spot up there. No questions asked.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. There was a time frame where I went to Minnesota because the plant up there went on strike, so I had to go up and be a scabby.
Oh.
And Mountain Dew outsold Coke and Pepsi combined 5-1 up there in Minnesota.
Wow.
So
that's amazing. I would never guess. I would never guess that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's pockets in the country where that's not the case, but there's also going to be wide swaths where gamers are present, and that is the case.
Yeah. Yeah, we get our truck loaded up. The truck I was in charge of, it was all telephone sales, where they'd have a salesman call on the phone, and then the truck was loaded with the orders. And I would open up the doors in the morning to count my inventory out, and be like one whole side of the truck was nothing but Mountain Dew.
Wow.
And then the other side was probably 3 doors of Mountain Dew and then 4 doors of just mix and match of all the odds and ends stuff.
That's interesting. It's super interesting to know because, I see these trucks drive all over, and they're always loading up the store shelves and everything, and I never really think, I wonder how much Mountain Dew versus Pepsi they're bringing in, but sounds to me like Mountain Dew's a leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, especially in the young crowd.
Yeah.
The young crowd's real big on the Mountain Dew, especially if you're into, like the online gaming, the extreme sports and everything. I think the energy drinks took a little bit of the business away, but I see now everything's into the hard sodas now.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it doesn't really surprise me that extreme sports are big when it comes to Mountain Dew and energy drinks. It's like, if you're that jacked up on caffeine, you got to backflip something. That's just, you have to. So, well, far be it from me to actually come in here and do the job. I like to just talk to people, and so far I've had a great time just learning a little bit about you.
Sure.
But this week on the episode, we are talking about steer tires, and when I asked Brenda for somebody that might be able to chat with me a little bit about steer tires, your name came up. Now, I don't have anything real specific to ask you here, but can you offer me maybe a little bit of an anecdotal run through of some problems that you've had or some issues that you've avoided when it comes to your steer tires? Maybe something that you've learned along the way that really helps you keep an eye on those, make sure that everything's running smoothly?
Every time I get out of my truck, I'm always at least looking at them, and you can tell if a tire might be getting a little bit low on air, or might have an issue. And I'm always rubbing my hand over the steer tire just to kind of feel the smoothness of it. And once I start feeling a little bit of ripple, it's time. It's not going to be long before you're going to need some new tires, because the one thing about steer tires, in my experience, is once they decide we're done with our lifetime, they start eating away real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take no time at all for them just to literally start, I always say, wallering themselves out, where they just get a ripple that goes all the way around the whole tire.
Right.
And and usually that's right around your 80 to 100,000 miles. And, you know, there might be some guys that get some longer life out of it. Some guys get a little bit shorter. I think it depends on the type of truck you have, what roads you drive on. I know with my neighbor's dad that I drove for, he had all long-nosed Peterbilts. Mm-hmm. Well, we would chew through steer tires in about 70,000 miles. And now with H&M driving these Volvos, it's right around the 120,000 miles that I've seen being able to get out of these steer tires. So
that's nice.
I think that's the biggest tidbit I have about steer tires is, you know, one, just check them daily and check them anytime you get out. When you get out to get your fuel, stop for a bathroom break, you know, just walk around the front of your truck, run your hands over them, feel them. If they start feeling hot, like on the inside or outside, you know, there's, you know, possibly some uneven wear going on. And then just that little tidbit of when it's their time, that it's their time.
It's their time. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't seem to, the tread will look fine. It's just all of a sudden, boom, they just start wearing funny, just out of the blue. You know, and you can slap a brand new set on and go another 80,000 miles and you never see an oddball wear start on them again. So
sure.
I think that's just a deal with steer tires when, you know, and I think the biggest issue is, you know, continuous hitting potholes. Once they start getting enough life in them, they probably start breaking some of the wire cord inside the casing. Mm-hmm. And once those start to get separated, that's where you get that little unevenness, and then they start to bounce a little bit. And I mean, I'm no tire expert, but
well, you've got a leg up on me, I'll tell you that, Tony. Maybe it's the 10 plus years, 20 plus, 30 plus years of driving that you've got under your belt, but you know, I feel like I go to the people that know. Now, have you ever had a steer tire blow out when you've been on the road?
Technically, no. But I have had one go out on me when I did hit an elk.
Oh, well, yeah, that's... I mean, if it was a good-size elk, I can't say that surprises me. Yeah. Those things are no slouches out there, especially not if they got a big rack of antlers on them.
Yeah. I hit it right there on the front left corner, and the bumper pushed into the tire and blew the tire. But I was already hard on the brakes and all kinds of stuff. So, but you know, honestly, I've seen a lot of trucks out there nowadays. Here in the last couple of years, a lot of trucks pulled over on the side of the road with the steer tire blown out. So, I think that's just a matter of when you're out getting your fuel, taking a break, just walk around the truck and just eyeball things. You know, you don't have to go into a full pre or post trip inspection. Just kind of eyeball a few things. Put your hand on it. Heat tells you a lot of problems too. One thing I learned from my old boss that I drove for back home was, you know, hey, just feel your axle hubs. You know, if you're not sure, you know, if you got something leaking or not, you know, if you just feel your axle hubs, if they feel really hot to the touch, you know, you probably got a problem. But if they're just warm, you know, then they're still doing their job. So it's just a matter of keeping an eye on things. Just have yourself a daily routine.
Right.
Good thing for me, I got to get my dog out to use the bathroom, so we always take a trip around the truck. I always take a trip around the truck with her, and then let her go out and run around. While she's doing that, I'm checking stuff back on the trailer or whatever, you know, depending on which way I've parked and whatnot and where she's at. And we'll just kind of look things over, and, you know, hey, it's just kind of my routine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, listen, I was going to let you get out of here, but now you brought up your dog, and you got to tell me a little bit about your pooch. What's her name? What kind of dog is she?
My sugar bear. She's a 10-year-old English bulldog, purebred.
Oh, God, I bet you she's the best little companion to have in the cab there.
She is a diva. She's a spoiled brat.
Is that why you named her Sugar Baby?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of drivers that'll know if they say, if you hear Sugar Bear, they'll know what guy you're talking about.
Sugar Bear. I love it, Tony. That's great. Well, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Sure. I think I've taken up enough of it today. I want to let you get back out there. We will definitely bring you back on the H&M Trucking Podcast sometime later. You've been a fantastic interview, and I think it's really important to listen to what Tony's saying when it comes to steer tires. You just got to get out and look. There's a lot of that get out and look, GOAL. I saw the stickers when I was in Omaha. Just put your hand on some stuff and feel it out. It's probably going to save you some headaches down the road if you do that.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, keep the shiny side up. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, that'll work. Thank you.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Joining us now on the podcast is president of H&M Trucking, Mr. James Fonda. James, how are we doing out there in Omaha today?
Doing great.
Now, I understand that you're limping around a little bit, and I mean, you can't be doing all that great because something happened to you recently on a beach somewhere, yeah?
Leave the sea urchins out of
this. Man, I only ask because I can relate, but I got to know, how did it happen and kind of what was the aftermath?
Well, I found a sea turtle, and, just decided to keep following it, and, I just stepped on some rocks, and there it went, right to my foot.
Pretty shocking amount of pain to feel out of nowhere, isn't it?
Yeah, I was not pleased with the situation. I thought maybe I sliced my foot at first, and my buddy was near, and I was swimming back to the shore. I'm like, what the fuck's on my foot? Excuse my language. And then we were pretty a remote beach. We luckily found a passerby a couple of beaches away, and because it was like seven other guys. And then my friend Tad had to use these tweezers to try to get this out of my foot. It turns out that was the wrong thing to do, but I'm sure he enjoyed it. It was years of payback in the making. He's like, "Oh, this hurts me more than it does you." I'm like, "Yeah, it's bull fucking shit." So that was quite an immense amount of pain. And then I had to walk back through lava rock. A couple hours, and then I wasn't gonna go. I was like, it'll work its way out. I went out. A guy wanted to go fishing, so I set up one of the fishing poles, and I was gonna walk out to the rocks with them. And then I was like, I need to do some research to figure out how to make this stop stinging. It wasn't stinging. It was probably 30 to 40 minutes of immense stinging. And then it calmed down, and then I went back to swimming for the rest of the day, and then later on, 6 hours later, I finally went to the urgent care, and then they've injected me with this, which I'm not sure which one was more painful, this numbing stuff that they injected or the actual initial sting. But then he's like, he goes into this second, he's like, it's a burn and a sting, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, it's a burn and a sting, let it go. And then it took my fucking breath away. I'm cussing a lot with that, and then he's like, do you want to get to the second one? And I'm like, yep, just go for it. And I'm just like, he's like, breathe. I'm like, I'm trying. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure what was more painful. It was just an immense stinging day that day.
Yeah.
So I never want to go. Yeah, then they dig out, I have 2 holes in my feet right now.
Oh, see,
that's... And then there's the spines and then the hooks. So I've got 60 hooks in my foot, and then I had 2 spines break in there.
That's unbelievable, man. It
they call it Hawaiian tattoo.
Yep.
And, I feel Hawaiian now.
I've got one, believe it or not. I was surfing probably 800 yards offshore. It was very shallow to get out there. We were out in Maui, and I was a new surfer. I didn't really know about the waxing the board thing, and so I had just waxed where I thought I would stand. And sure enough, the third wave I caught, I stepped on a spot where I hadn't waxed, and I slammed my face into my board, and my nose just started pouring blood. And the only thing I could think was, I'm 800 yards out into the ocean. There's sharks out here, and I'm actively bleeding into the water. So I just start swimming in as fast as I can, and I came past the ship channel, and you're super shallow at the ship channel, and I started... Here's the first mistake, grabbing the bottom and pulling myself as quickly as I could, and I just, like I was throwing a 5-fingered change up, I just palmed a sea urchin, and I had 27 spines in my hand, and God knows how many hooks. It was, like you say, that pain, it just radiates, and you know, I couldn't open my hand all the way, so it looked like I was holding something, and I was trying to get my sister to look so that she could take me to help, and she thought I was holding some sea creature and trying to scare her, so she ran away. And this surf bum told me on the beach right there, he goes, just pee on it, man. And I didn't do that, but they told me at the emergency room that that's actually a local remedy that helps the stinging stop and will actually make some of the barbs fall out. They didn't take them out of me, James. They just sent me home with vinegar, and I had to soak my hand in vinegar for like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, so that originally I did vinegar when I got back, but yeah, some of them that went in so deep, I wasn't. They wouldn't have come out. So it had been infection, and then I read they're like, oh, like you can get infection, lose your foot. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. The beach bum didn't tell me that. Who would have thought? You know?
Yeah, right.
But
anyways, those little black spiky fuckers. To the hell of them.
Yeah, well, and listen, since
and they're called like wana or something. They're not even called sea urchins. They're called like wana. I found out. They kept referring like, oh, like I couldn't figure out they saying wana or fauna. Like, what are you saying? It's wana.
Well,
like of course.
I don't want to run across one again. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm out. Tap me out. Yeah, I'm like lipping around a little bit. Like it's in like on the right side of my my right foot, so it's in an area that it's like, oh, it's fine, and it catches you off guard. Like you step in the wrong way. Like, oh,
well,
so yeah, everybody just please enjoy the amount of cussing I had about this. I'm very enlightened through it. I never want to run across one of those again. My humble tootsies have been truly humbled.
Well, as kind of the content moderator for this podcast, I will say I'm totally okay with the amount you swore because of what you swore about. I know how it feels. And yeah, I mean, I think I was only like 15 or 16 when it happened to me, and I got a free swear pass for the day. I feel like that's all you can ask for. Yeah. There's actually been studies out there that say that a good, crispy 4-letter swear word actually reduces pain a little bit when you're experiencing it. So
perfect. Does it reduce stress as well? I need that. I'm turning gray.
I say give it a try, James. At this point, like, what do you have to lose, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's all hope lost anyway, so.
Well, listen, we've got plenty of great info on our episode already. We're talking about steer tires today. I'll give you the floor real quick to talk about anything that you might want to mention for the drivers for steer tires, but I've already taken up a lot of your time, so the floor is yours if you'd like to say anything. Obviously, we've got a lot of get out and look, a lot of keeping track of, you know, how much wears on the tires, whether they're wearing unevenly and stuff. A lot of good stuff from Jim down at the shop. But I figure we should actually focus on the content of the episode for just a couple of minutes here. So the floor is yours.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, that's how you're running your equipment. You should be definitely paying attention to all your tires. Tires, especially right now, are incredibly expensive. And that goes for actually all equipment. So it's not just get out and look about your tires. It's get out and look about what's going on with your equipment and how we're maintaining it. Yeah, we have newer equipment, but right now, it's incredibly difficult to get parts, and you know, a truck that was down for 3 or 4 days. A long time ago, it was down for a couple of weeks. So that's actually my push this next month out to drivers, is really focusing on you know, making sure you're really paying attention and not just you know. I understand that accidents happen in parking lots, scratch something here or there, but really just focusing on not doing extra damage to the equipment, because it's just taking so much longer to get parts, and then really making sure you're keeping your equipment in check, because same goes, right? Like that's your moneymaker. You got to keep that baby rolling.
You heard it from the president himself. James, thank you so much for joining us today. Hope that the foot starts feeling better sooner rather than later, my friend.
Yep, I'll let you do it next time again. All right.
Hey, man, you take me to Hawaii, I'll step on as many of them as you want, okay?
Fine, deal. Actually, this is great content. I think everybody would love that.
Oh, what did I sign up for? Thanks, James. Busy day here on the H&M Trucking Podcast, but we're okay with it. That was a great episode. Appreciate everybody for stopping by and hanging out with us today. Once again, it's very important. You guys interact with us on social media. Let us know what you want to hear. You can find us on the H&M Trucking Facebook page, and we've got a link tree. We've got all sorts of stuff. We're on the YouTube channel as well. Leave your comments. We're starting to get some comments rolling in here, and we really appreciate that. All types of feedback help this podcast grow into something that you might like more than you did before. Want to thank Deanna from Driver Advocacy, Jim Musel from the shop, Dean Edmunds from Safety, Tony Bertolf, our driver profile this week, and of course, President of H&M Trucking, James Fonda, for all of their awesome contributions. Wouldn't be able to do this podcast without all of these awesome people that want to come on and share their knowledge and information and stories with us. So, once again, hit us up on social media. Keep the shiny side up. Oh, and watch out for kids while you're staying fresh, cheese bags.
Thank you for listening to the H&M Trucking Podcast. Please leave a review, subscribe, and connect with Marcus over at the H&M Trucking social media channels. And if you're considering a job at H&M, find us at hmtrucking.com. Until next time, stay safe and ahead of the curve drivers.